Hi VC, hi YouTube, it's Rob here with another video, and this is a contest entry for Jack at Vinyl Martini over in Canada. He wants us to show 3 to 5 artists who made a solo album but then went back to record with the band that they were originally with. So I've been through my collection. It wasn't easy, this. Quite tricky to find people who went back to bands after a solo album. And Jack is going to donate $100 to a food bank when the contest ends. So there's no actual prize, but I mean, that's a great gesture by Jack. So I've got 5 albums here. First one I want to show is from 1971, If I Could Only Remember My Name, by David Crosby. So when I did my ranking of albums from 1971, this was actually second. So obviously it's an album that I really rate. And of course David Crosby went on to record many albums with Crosby, Stills and Nash. It's just a repress on Atlantic. But as I say, certainly one of my favourite albums of the 1970s. If I did a top 10 of 70s albums, this would probably be in there. So If I Could Only Remember My Name, great album by David Crosby. Second one I want to show is another big favourite of mine, White City by Pete Townshend from 1980. I did check, 85 or 86, mid 80s. I can remember buying this when it came out and really rating it. Something about Pete Townshend in concept albums. So this is sort of set around a housing estate in London. Face to Face. I think he actually did a sort of a live version of this that came out on Record Store Day sometime this year. White City Fight, just everything on this album. And it's an album that's relatively cheap. You know, you see it in the bins for under a tenner. But it's just a great album. So Pete Townshend and White City, of course, he's gone on to make, he's certainly made a couple of questionable albums with The Who, but this is a great one, White City. Let's show an album from, I think it's 2005, Thom Yorke debut album, Eraser. So Thom Yorke, the lead singer with Radiohead. So Radiohead have brought out numerous albums since 2005. And I do like Thom Yorke's solo stuff. I think the last Radiohead album came out in 2016, so it's certainly due something maybe in a year or two. But fine debut, Thom Yorke and Eraser from 2005. Let's have a bit of Manchester theme now. So one of my favourite, if not my favourite Manchester band, people talk about the Smiths and Joy Division and Stone Roses, Oasis, but my favourite are Elbow, and this is Garvey, the lead singer with Elbow. And this album came out in 2015, a solo album called Courting the Squall. Comes on a gatefold. So Elbow with the lyrics. I think Elbow are a band that aren't that well known outside the UK really. They've released at least 9 studio albums. They're from Bury, which is about 5 to 10 miles outside Manchester. And some of their albums, Seldom Seen Kid, that album in particular, Little Fictions as well. Just some of my favourite albums of the last 20 years. But Garvey just did a solo album about 8 years ago. And since then, Elbow have released 2 or 3 albums. So this was just like a one-off. But yeah, Caught in the Squall from 2015, I think. Garvey. And finally, an album that I'm not sure I've seen shown on the VC before. So Jimi Goodwin. So Jimi Goodwin is a singer with Doves, another Manchester band. And this came out in 2014. That's a Polish word. Actually means, I did look it up, and I've forgotten what it actually means. So it's called Oduluk. It's a Polish word. So the Doves, a Manchester band, three-piece, who came to the fore in the mid-90s, released I think three or four critically acclaimed albums, and then went on a sort of 15-20 year hiatus, and then brought this album out a couple of years ago. But in between, Jim released this album, and of course in places does have a distinctive Doves sound to it. So 5 artists who went solo after being a band, but then they went back to the band. This has been a contest entry for Jack Vinyl Martini over in Canada. He's got a really good channel. He's one of the, I think we've all got these channels where we seem to watch every video that they do. And Jack's just really likeable. Just got something about him that I really enjoy his content, and I wanted to support his channel. So go over to the Vinyl Martini and go and check out Jack's channel. If you got any comments about what I showed, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.